Hey you guys, it's Tyler Schulte, and today I'm doing my unboxing slash review of my Nokia Lumia 520. Now you can see the device is already out of the box, and that's because I've owned it for a month actually. So when I say review, I don't just mean looking at it for a day, I mean actually reviewing it for a month of use. And what I can say right away is that I'm very happy with the device. But even though I'm very happy with it, I'm a Windows phone fanboy, I will also tell you all of its flaws. So to start off, I bought this on Amazon for 180 bucks a month ago, and pretty much my experience has been great. I can start by opening up the box. The stuff's already open basically, but I can show you everything else. I haven't thrown anything away. So it's a simple pull tab, pretty solid box. So we have a bunch of plastic baggies that small little things came in. We have a bunch of fun stuff about getting your Windows Phone started in both two languages, English and I believe French or Spanish, depending on which you're getting this. Alright, so again, I bought this unlocked on Amazon for $180. It worked perfectly with my SIM card, with a little plastic tray. This does not come with the box. I got the black model, but I did buy this for $9 on eBay. And it's the blue model, and it's literally the OEM part. The buttons are built in here, so unlike the iPhone, or iPod, whenever the button sticks, you just get a new back and the button will be fine. If you get anything scratched, replace the back, you'll be good, unless you scratch the phone itself. Then there's other stuff at the bottom, but I already took all that out, so the rest of the box is just empty. But overall, very nice box for being a $180 budget phone. So now we have the device itself. So this is 119.9 millimeters tall by 64 millimeters wide by 9.9 thick. So I guess a random thickness comparison I can do is next to my laptop, but it doesn't look the best. So there's my laptop. It's a clunky one, original i5 in there from the first generation. So it's very thin. You know, it's not gonna be thick at all. Like, it's thicker than the newest iPod, but you know, that doesn't really matter at all. So what else do we got here? Let's see. It's 124 grams of weight. She's got 8 gigs of internal storage, 512 megabytes of RAM. It's got an IPS display. That's what I love about this. The colors are crisp. Now, the resolution is 480 by 800 pixels, which gives 233 pixel density. But it's a 4-inch screen. But so while it's not HD, you know, it only does 720. The IPS display looks amazing. Colors just pop. I can probably give you a preview. You'll never be able to see it on this, by the way, how the colors pop. But you have wider viewing angles. This camera sucks, by the way. This camera was not built for video. It was built for nice pictures. Very nice pictures. So let's see here. Even though it has 8 gigs of internal storage, you can expand with an SD card, and I'll get to that later. The charger. That's not even about the phone, but it's a feature of whatever it comes with. So the charger is very, 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 very small, which is nice. Like, this brick is very tiny, and the cable itself is very tiny. Here's a rubber band that came with it. You know, rubber bands, everybody knows the thickness of rubber bands. This cable is a little thicker than a rubber band. And that is amazing how thin this cable is. I thought it was going to be cheap and flimsy, but it's held up very well. You have a micro USB version 2.0 connector. Also thought it was going to be flimsy, but it's held together very well for a month. This joint is what I think, if anything's going to break, will be this joint. But it's held up very well because it's a very small piece just going in there, and it kind of wiggles, but I think it's held in there. And Nokia does not make cheap products, so that's good. It also came with the USB cable inside the box. Now this is pretty much for just syncing data. You can use it to charge, but it's very short. Like, I don't know, it's not even like, it's like 2 lengths of the phone, if anything. So like, not even a foot, like 9 inches, so you can barely plug it into your PC and set it on anywhere, so that's pretty much ruling out that, using that very often. But then also inside of it, with a half gig of RAM, it has a dual-core Qualcomm processor running at 1 gigahertz, and I'll show you how fast this thing can perform or anything. But it has the Adreno 305 GPU and a 1430 mAh battery, lithium-ion. Then it has a 5 megapixel rear camera in the center with no flash, and it does very well taking pictures. I have not actually tested on videos, but later on in this video I will show you some pictures. If not, I'll show you pictures and videos right now. Alright, you guys, this is video quality. I'm just filming around my room real quick, just looking around. That's my computer. I can do videos about those. That thing is pretty awesome. Touch screen, red fans everywhere. Alright, and this is my video example. And that's a room. I can see it, but it's pretty dark out there. And then this is looking at a screen. As you can see, it tears, but that's because it's a screen. So that's how video quality looks. I can go into the details something. And it's pretty good, I think. Alright, you guys. I'll continue on with the video now. And then, after that, we have the, let's think here. Oh, it can take 720p video at 30 frames. Anyways, then we have our buttons. Our buttons consist of the lock button, the volume up and down rocker, which is a solid bar. Then we have our camera button, and on the other side nothing. Bottom we have the USB connector. Top we have the headphone 3.5mm jack, and then the rest of it. Oh, and I also forgot to include this, but it does come with its own pair of headphones with the speaker built in. So then also we have the speaker on the back of the phone, and that performs very well. I can show that later. But alright, so now we are ready to remove the back. So to start, right up near the top, there's the nice little speaker. And so to do that, to get this off, you go right in between the speaker and the bezel of the plastic. I usually use my fingernail, pry it in between, and you hear a little click and it'll pop apart into two pieces, the back panel and the phone itself, and then they just fold apart. So now you have your black panel, which is the exact same as this blue one, and then you have the actual internals of the phone, which would be a micro SIM card, an SD, which I said I'd come back to. It can support up to 64 external gigabytes of data, and then the battery, the 1430 mAh battery, and that's pretty much all you can really get to the access, besides the buttons on the side, which are these little, really hard to see dots, but see, those are the buttons, which the buttons then, of course, like I said earlier, go on the other phone. So now I'm going to put on the back, and I can start the review of the phone with the operating system. Alright, so I have my blue case on here now, so it looks pretty stylish actually. Got all the Nokia things and everything. And one story I'm going to go on really quickly about is when I dropped this. If you look in the bottom corner, you can barely see it, but there's a little nick in the blue case. And that's because one day I was carrying this in my pocket. I went to pull it out, and I dropped it from about 3 or 4 feet up, landed on solid concrete, impacted like this. It went douche. So it smashed in the corner, then flat faces. So I was one of those people that was gonna freak out if my glass was broken. This was 2 weeks in. I'm not clumsy with my phones at all, but it slipped out of my hand and smashed the concrete. It bent this, and it smashed the entire bottom of this case up. I don't know how it didn't damage the phone, but the glass was in perfect contact, not a single scratch on it. But yet the bottom corner was completely destroyed, only on the case though. I bent it back into place though, but it was completely flattened. It smashed. Like, this was sharp. I cut somebody using it. I slashed it on. It's pretty funny. But that's a quick story, and then I'll begin right now on the software. Alright, so to start with, to unlock it, you use the lock button on the left. It's perfect for left-handed people because you use this finger right there. It goes perfectly in there, and you smash it like that and unlock it. Or you can use your right hand and put your thumb right there, and it fits perfectly. So either way, it works perfectly. Like, I hate the Galaxy S3 and 4's lock button. It's in the worst place ever, in my opinion. But this button is perfect for either hand use, and it is right where you need it. And so, anyways, like I was saying, the IPS screen is very nice. You have far viewing angles and great looking colors. Of course, this camera is not going to capture any of the good looks. If anything, it's just going to capture the light behind me. But when I'm looking at my phone, I cannot actually see that light. Like, that's why I keep moving the camera. I'm looking over the phone. That is just, I don't even know how the camera is doing that. But when I look over the screen, I cannot even see that. I see just perfect colors. I don't see that light at all. So when you think about it, I probably see, let's see, I don't even see the camera. I don't even see myself. Now I see myself, but, you know. See, I probably see something, I see something more like this. This is what I'm seeing when you guys are seeing light. I'm just seeing the perfect colors and not myself. So let me unlock it real quick, just swipe from the top. This is my start screen. I have it customized like this. You can change all the size and everything, but that's a Windows Phone 8 review. This is the 920. So one of the first things I need to say is, like, even though I stated all the specs earlier, don't feel like, oh, this has half a gig of RAM versus an Android phone with 1 gig of RAM, or, oh, this processor is 1.2 gigahertz dual core and this is 1.0. The Windows operating system will run the same on all of them, and pretty much all applications will too. It is, the Microsoft experience is just amazing, in my opinion. So don't compare it to any Android phones based on just specs. View it on the actual performance of everyday tasks and everything. So anyways, one of the first things I can say is the touchscreen is extremely sensitive. You can go into the settings real quick, and if I can find this right, if we go to, I believe it's display and touch. Let's see here, where it would be display and touch. Alright. And then if we can switch sunlight visibility on and touch sensitivity high. So what I can't, also hear that? It vibrates every time you hit these 3 buttons, and you cannot turn that off. These buttons are not LED lit either. But one nice thing about the buttons is, see, look, I'm scrolling and it's moving, but then when I go to the buttons, nothing happens. So if I open up, say, Internet Explorer, now I'm scrolling through a web page and I accidentally go over the home button, it's not going to go home. You have to actually hit the button. So that's a really nice feature that they have programmed in there. And so don't worry about, or if you're playing Fruit Ninja, I'm a huge Fruit Ninja fan on this. And so I'll be swiping fruit, and if I ever go off the edge, I don't have to worry about hitting one of those buttons. But we'll go on to more about the buttons later for multitasking. So as for battery life is a big thing for most people. I get over a day for each thing. I always charge it at night as a habit, but I always get over a day. And if I have this one battery app, I don't know the specific name of it, but inside it has my little graph. I can zoom out on that later, but if I go to statistics, which is right there, it shows me a bunch of information, like how the longest time I've gone without charging, all this other fun stuff. And again, I cannot see that light behind me or myself. The screen is very good at counteracting all that stuff. So anyways, it says on average I deplete about 6.68% per hour. And that's me checking Facebook and Instagram and all this other stuff. So it's really, like, battery life is really good on this. The only time it'll ever drop really fast is if I am turning on my Wi-Fi or data. Wi-Fi and data kills the battery. If you turn those two off, it will last for long periods of time. So that's it's pretty great. And on average, it charges 37% per hour, which is what it says. So in 2.5 hours, if I'm at 0%, it will be fully charged in 2.5 hours. But usually it takes about 2. So it's pretty nice. So if it's dying, you don't have to worry. It charges really fast. So let's see here. Now I'll start on more about the app market area. So we have the Windows Store. Most people are concerned about apps and not having Android apps, but the store has a lot of apps I need. The only thing it hasn't had is Snapchat, but I don't need that. So I have the Nokia collection. That's only for Nokia phones. I mean, there are ways probably to get these, but through other ways. Some of these are exclusive. Some of these are not. Like, let's see here. Nokia Music, great application. I replaced the stock music app with that. It works great. It's like, imagine Pandora being offline. It's amazing. Nokia Video Upload, Here Drive, App Social. Oh, Here Drive, Nokia Here Drive, and Nokia Maps are amazing. I use Nokia Maps whenever I run, and it is really accurate. It's like Google, because the Google Maps are not available for this. That's another thing. People hate how Google's not integrated into this. It's really great. Like Here Maps, I would recommend everybody get that. And it's offline too. You don't even need data for it. So that's why I use it when I run. Now, another great feature of Windows Phone 8 and the Nokia's, I guess not exclusive to Nokia, but it's Windows Phone 8 is the search assistant slash speech assistant slash talk to lady. She's not any Siri, but she does tasks that you need. Like, watch this. Open calculator.
Starting calculator.
So I mean, ooh, that's so fancy, right? It can do anything. But then you start going a little on advanced. Call mom.
Calling mom.
So we'll cancel that. Or I got call mom on speaker.
Calling mom on speaker.
See, I mean, it just keeps going. Or it'll be like, send mom a text.
Searching for. Send.
Oh, whoops. So that, it's really accurate. I must have mumbled or something, but seriously, it's so accurate. Like, let me. I meant to say text mom. Send is not a command. Text mom.
Texting mom. Say your message.
Hi mom, how's it going?
Hi mom, how's it going?
Now you can see there's
Say send, add more, or try again.
cancel. So see, it's very awesome. It struggles with punctuation, but it's seriously super, super, super accurate. Like, let me think of one. Search, what was the result of the Hawkeye game? Since we live in...
Searching for, what was the result of the Hawkeye game?
Well, we live in Iowa, so, you know, Hawkeyes versus Michigan. So, I mean, look at it. It just searches with Bing. You can't change that, really. But it's seriously... And then I have it right there in the first few results. And so it's actually really accurate. And I got images and videos and all that stuff. But see how accurate it is? It is... I thought it was actually amazing. I use it a lot. Like, I'll be playing a game. I'll get a text from somebody, and you can have the setting to turn on or off. But then when you get an inbox, it'll say, "Oh, you have a message from blank. Read it or ignore." And I'll say, "Read it," and it'll read the entire message out. And then and it'll even understand like IDK. It'll take IDK and say, "I don't know," and it'll say all that stuff out loud. It's actually very accurate. And then, especially with text slang. And then you can say it'll ask you if you want to reply or not. You can reply over speech without like ever exiting an app, and it's actually really, really awesome. But that's the speech assistant. Now on to games. One of my favorite games is Fruit Ninja, but you can get a bunch of other apps. I used to have a lot of games, but now I don't really have that many. Like right now I have AE Fruit Slash and Tuts Towers, very hard game. But they have like 4 Picks 1 Word and Angry Birds and all that stuff, but I don't really have a passion for that, but I really love Fruit Ninja. I guess I can show a quick assessment of how this game plays, but using one hand, I'm really limited. But you'll see, it doesn't really lag at all. It's very, very fast. No game will pretty much lag on this. And it's going to be very hard because I'm playing through the camera. Then it's like a lot of fingers multi-touch. I guess I can probably hang on. Let me retry and show this. Oh, whoops. Yeah, see, it's really hard because I'm looking through the camera to hit buttons. So I think that's replay. Yeah. So I got my 4-finger or 4. This is just 4 fingers. I can support. I don't even know. I think it supports 10 or an infinite. I don't know. It depends on probably the apps. But then I hit back, and this is probably a good point to show multitasking. So say I'm playing the game. I hit home button. What it does is if I hit the back barrel to go back to my app, it'll pause the game automatically for me. So I'm sure it's some nice API in place, but it's very nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to home screen of the app, hit a home button, and then I'm going to open up battery percentages. And so now if I hit the home button, whenever you hit the home button, it leaves it in the multitasking. Whenever you hit the back button, it closes the app or goes back one stage. So now if I hold the back button, this is where multitasking comes into play. So I can go right here. I'm back in my Fruit Ninja game. If I hit back, it'll close it after I close this ad. So now I'm back in my home screen. If I hold back arrow, battery life is still running. So if I hit the back arrow again, it'll take me to my battery app. If I hit the back arrow again, it'll close it and take me to my home screen. Now the multitasking takes a lot of time to get used to, but over time it actually makes a lot of sense. So whenever I'm like in a game or something, I just hit the home button, open up Google or Internet Explorer or whatever, and then check my email, all that stuff. And so then let me open up photos. So now what I can do real quick though is whenever I open a bunch of stuff, the only problem with multitasking is to close most stuff, I just hit back like 50 times. And I'll see everything's closed. So that's pretty much how I end up closing everything. There's no task manager or anything. You just hit the back arrow a million times. And then another app I really love is the People Hub. Now I'm not going to open it so I don't reveal any names or anything, but the People Hub is great. It syncs with Google, Hotmail, Facebook, Yahoo, Twitter, I think, and Microsoft and everything. It syncs with all those, and compiles it into pictures and addresses and phone numbers and email addresses. And then if you click on the individual person, it'll show you their Facebook account. Like if I clicked on one of my friends, and we'll just call him Joey. If we click on Joey, it'll give me his phone number from Facebook, his address from Google, his Google email, his Yahoo email. It'll compile it all together. And then if I swipe to the right further, it'll say what's new, and it'll show me his Facebook and his Twitter feed and all that stuff. So that's really awesome. And I've used that a lot, and it gets all the pictures from Facebook too. And then you can sign picture contacts, and I guess they just kind of shuffle through there. It's awesome. I really love the People Hub. Now, one thing that's majorly lacking though is the music the overall device search. They have the search button. When I press that, it just brings me to the Bing homepage. It's really useless in my opinion. What I want is like an all device search. Like iOS has Spotlight. I hate Spotlight, but when I do need it, it's nice. Like even I got Nokia Music even, but even that does not have a search button. If I can't search my music collection, then I've got issues. Because I have a lot of songs. Now, so it kind of frustrates me a little, but like to have to not be able to search music, but it's something I live with, but it still annoys me to this day because I love just starting to type in like the artist or something, like you have your albums and your songs and all that stuff, but having to scroll through or click on the letter and then click on the next letter, sometimes it's just too much. I'd rather just be able to search for it. Or if they could have the search assistant, if I could hold the button and say play this song and it plays it, that'd be awesome. But they don't have anything about that either. I don't know if they have that in any third-party apps yet, but I know Nokia Music and the stock music app does not have searching ability. Now, one of the biggest things that annoys me with this phone, it's literally my biggest pet peeve, or one of my top 3 biggest pet peeves, is the screen. Now, what I mean by that is when I started this video, it was perfectly clean, or pretty close to clean. Doing this video alone, I have smeared it. Look at this, I can draw circles on it. And my hands are clean for the like when I say for the most part, I mean clean. So I can just draw doodles all over it, so it gets really, really, really nasty over time. And so every day I have to just get it out and clean it, and it's just really nasty. It gets really, really dirty over time. And so every single time I'll bring a polishing cloth with me. I mean, I don't have OCD that badly, sarcasm, but it gets pretty bad for the screen wise. So I mean, it's up to you, but it's a lot. It's just every time you look at the phone, and then you have to raise your brightness just to be able to see through all those screen smears. And then, but see, like right now it's fine because I have a medium brightness set. But when it's not set like that, it's just so bad and annoying. But that's one of the biggest things, all those smudges. Now, second of all, I put a screen protector on this at one point. It came with my $9 blue case. It was a very, very cheap one. I guess it was like 1 penny to manufacture, if anything. So I put that on there. But the problem is, it has the way it uses its proximity sensor is very, very, very accurate. So what was happening was, I had my phone, and I would have the screen protector on it. And so normally, when you have your screen locked like this, and it's in your pocket, and you get a text, it won't light up the screen, because what would happen is, the screen would light up and you'd slide up or something with your pocket, and you'd hit a bunch of buttons on the screen. But instead, what it does is it senses the proximity before it lights up. And if it's close enough to any material, it will not light up, so that way the screen doesn't turn on. So that's pretty intelligent. And then same if you're getting a phone call or anything, or if you're, if you put it next to your ear when you're in the middle of a call, it'll turn off the screen. That's standard of most smartphones. But what happened was, the screen protector on it was very cheap or something. I don't know I bet if you got a more expensive one it'd work. But do not go cheap on the screen protector, because when it laid over the sensor, it figured, oh hey, it's in some guy's pocket. Do not light up the screen. So every time I get a text, it wouldn't light up. So I'd have to hit the button and then view the text. And then during a phone call, that's the worst. I'd make a phone call, right? And then what would happen is it thought that it was right next to my ear, like, 1 millimeter away from my ear. So every time I'd start the phone call, I couldn't hang up. I could hit the lock button, but it wouldn't unlock because the proximity sensor had override. And so I couldn't unlock it. And so to end a call, I had to rip out my battery, which is stupid. But in the end, I finally just ripped the screen protector off, and now I have one mark on the screen so far in a month. But it's really, it's a solid screen, I'll tell you that for sure. But don't get a cheap screen protector if you're going to get one, because, yeah, my screen protector still have smudges. So that's another fix. If you get a nice screen protector, it probably won't have smudges on it as bad as this. But let's see here, what's next on my list? So next on my list is the Wi-Fi and the other settings that I use a lot. So it does not have any fancy control setting like iOS 7 or Android where you can swipe from the top. I wish it had that. By the way, when you swipe from the top, it'll show you your data and everything else like that. Otherwise, it'll just flip back up. I forgot to say that. That's a Windows Phone 8 review, though. But anyways, so to get to the Wi-Fi and everything really fast, I just have the shortcuts. My battery application has settings inside there that says, would you like to create a Wi-Fi tile and an airplane mode tile and this tile and that tile. So I have my Wi-Fi tile, which I basically use in my airplane mode. I use occasionally. But my brightness, still have to go settings. So I set it to automatic every once in a while. But otherwise, I have to scroll all the way down to brightness and then click on that and then change it. Auto brightness on this is also very useful. But sometimes I like to leave it on medium or low unless I'm in direct sunlight. So yeah, I wish they had like a brightness toggle or something that you could do, or actually have live tiles integrated into the operating system for that. But for now, you just have like 2 shortcuts pretty much that I could get on the App Store. And my final complaint about this thing is the camera app. Now I show you probably now, or I already have, all the photos I've taken. But right now, to take a photo with this, I have to there's no button on here. There's the camcorder button and the switch camera button or something like that. I don't know. But if I hit this and tap it, I've gotten the hang of it now. But see, and oh, there it goes. Now I took a photo. But see, you have to hit it just right. So if you hold it for too long, it'll just focus, but it won't take it. Or if you hit it too fast, it won't register it at all. So see, I just keep tapping the screen, but it's not doing anything. And see, now it took one. Then mainly it's just quick jerky taps that'll take it. But then you can also hit the hard physical button, and sometimes that'll take it or not. But it's a 2-stage button too. So you hit once to autofocus and then once to take it. So I like to use the button mainly versus the screen because that's more accurate. But it's really frustrating when you give people your phone to take a picture of you because it does not have any front-facing camera, remember that. So basically what happens is I have to give people my phone to take a picture of me, or I can wing it basically. So people are just like, how do I take a picture on it? I tap the screen or hit the button. They'll hit the button once and it's a 2-stage button, so it won't take the photo, it'll just focus like it's not working. Or they'll tap the screen really fast or too long, it won't take it. And so people can't really figure it out. I've used to it now, so I can take a photo 99.999% of the time. But most people don't know how to do that, and so it's confusing whenever people try to do it. So that's one disadvantage, of the few. But those are pretty much everything I have to say about this phone, to be honest. It's not flimsy at all. I've dropped it really hard and it's come out perfectly fine. You can get new backs for it for relatively really cheap. The proximity sensor ticked me off, but it's fine if you don't have a cheap screen protector on there. The screen is strong against scratches. It gets smudgy, but the speech assistant and everything is awesome. So this phone, honestly, has been the best phone I've ever owned. I've had Android phone, or I haven't had them, but my family has. And whenever my sister's in the car or something and she gets a text, she'll give me her phone because she does not support texting and driving. She'll say, text him. And the keyboard layout on those is just absolutely terrible. I hate the keyboard on Android. It's so tiny and clunky. And then iOS, when I go from having a home button to having 3 buttons, it is just amazing. Some people might be hesitant about the App Store. I love this App Store. It's fine. I have Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I have photo editing applications and games. It literally does what I need it to do. But if you need something like major Google, I switched over to Microsoft now. I'm fine with using Bing. I still use Google Chrome and everything on my other desktop and laptop.
but I'm fine with using Bing search, and the Microsoft search assistant is amazing. So I've put them in my contacts and everything sync with Microsoft and Google still, so it's really, really awesome. The experience has been easy to switch over to, and Nokia Maps made it really awesome. I love Nokia Maps more than I love Google Maps, and I switched from Pandora to Nokia Music. Nokia Music is amazing. But basically, it's really like after you get if you aren't a hardcore user, like I am a hardcore user with my desktop. But my phone, I don't need it to do a million things. This does do a million things. It does amazing things, but it doesn't have the App Store. I literally think that's one of the biggest differences between anything is the size of the App Store. But this does everything I need it to do, and so it's really an awesome phone. If you're thinking about it, get it. You can customize the colors all the time. The customizability is amazing over iOS or Android. Like Android, you can get animations, but you can't really change the phones at all. This I can change my color whenever I wake up. But alright, this has been my review of the Nokia Lumia 920, or not 920, 520. Thank you for watching this. Like it, subscribe it, whatever you think is suitable for you. If you have any questions at all, like if you want to see a boot up test to this thing or something like that, it'd be great. If you just left me a comment or sent me a message, I will literally make any video you want for this phone if it's reasonable. Like if you say, Tyler, I want to see something about the back of the phone, or I want to see the boot up time, or I want to see how it does this application or something, just tell me and I will try to make a video for that, because I am all open to making videos about this phone. It is amazing. So you guys just like it, subscribe to me, anything like that. And I hope you guys have an awesome time. This is Tyler Schulte. Peace out.